Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and this is Sat TV Week. Now I'm pleased to be joined by David Andres of Santander Teleport. David, teleport, critical part of the satellite network, but why?
Well, teleports are basically the fundamental ground infrastructure to allow the satellite communications to happen. They provide reliability, they provide the expertise in this very niche technology area, so that communications can be provided on remote places reliably and cost effectively.
Now, the satellite sector is evolving the whole time, but how does a teleport like yours stay relevant to the customers?
Sure. Well, teleports more and more are basically including additional expertise beyond what is purely, the radio frequency element, the connection to the satellite. They connect the remote places. They don't just land the traffic at the teleport and stop there, but more and more we are getting more involved in an end-to-end provision or providing additional value to the service providers.
Now, security and cyber security is a fundamental part of today's satellite sector, and it's a big issue. We hear about it in the papers all the time. How much of the emphasis for curing that is down to you at the ground level?
Okay, well, it is important for teleports and service providers to be well informed and to actually not just be informed but be ahead of those technologies and understand them. In many cases, corporations and companies and customers, they already have a plan, especially when they have usually an IT department, a good technology understanding of the cybersecurity and how to protect against those threats. But in some cases, and especially more with the smaller customers, they need some help, and this is where we can help them by giving them advice and by providing some of the security services to stop the threats coming into their networks. We have a network operations center, which is basically manned 24/7. Not yet beyond that, we also have all the infrastructure around the teleport built with redundancy on all the different elements of the system, from the antennas to the power that feeds the whole operation with UPS protected power supplies and diesel generator, dual and redundant fiber loops into redundant local loop providers. So it's all, we're trying to make sure that outages are minimized to the maximum, but obviously 100% it's not something that can always be warranted, and in that event that an issue happens, we always have people there 24/7 to help and support.
When you talk about the outages, and 100% is not always possible, is there a general level that a teleport like yourself aims for, that the operators say is within acceptable limits?
Yeah, so basically we design our systems, and not just the systems but the services themselves, to operate to a 99.95 plus. In most cases the infrastructure is built to 99.99% availability. We could add more nines, but eventually at the end of the day the important thing is that we minimize any risk possible, and then because we can't be always 100% sure that nothing is going to happen, then always have someone that can fix issues, spares being held on site, so that faulty equipment can be restored as soon as possible, and the right procedures in place to minimize any issues, any outages.
We've heard in recent years some news reports about jamming of the satellite signals. At which level, from ground to space, who's responsible for dealing and compensating for that and switching the signal? How do you go about it?
Okay, so we monitor our transmissions at RF level using spectrum analyzers that are switchable to our monitoring wall at the network operating center. So when we have seen some of these interferences, whether they are provoked or unintended, the first thing that we do is we've got alarms set up so that we can actually act upon them as quickly as possible, and then we deal with the satellite operator, which ultimately can help us understanding where those interferences are. But it's responsibility, from the teleport to the satellite operator to the to the service provider that is installing the remote dishes as well, to make sure that everyone not only have the right training to reduce the level of interference, but also the right equipment and technical skills to basically overcome those issues.
Now we're out in Asia and you're wandering around having a look at Asia, but why?
We have some customers here in Asia that are interested to go outside Asia. They have customers, normally regional customers, that are looking to extend their reach beyond the region, so coming closer to the Atlantic, Europe, Africa, and basically what we're doing is talking to them about offering our teleport to support their business.
So where do you see your biggest growth sector as we move forward?
Well, we're at the moment, where I think the growth is happening is more on the mobility market, also on the defense market, government services. We have at the teleport engineers which basically have been trained to install maritime antennas, manage maritime services through a lot of legacy we have with our partners who are basically maritime service providers. And also we are one of the few teleports in Europe that can provide C-band, Ku-band, but also X-band communications for governments, and we have one of the largest antenna to do that, so to provide very efficient use of this X-band spectrum as well. So I think this is some of the growth and the focus that we're putting is in those areas.
So what about on your views about 4K? Everybody's talking about 4K.
Yeah.
How has that affected you?
We're primarily a VSAT operator, less involved in the broadcast area. So it's not something that we focus on a day-to-day basis. Having said that, I have gone through in my previous life through a process of evolution from standard definition to high definition, and it has always been very difficult to predict how and when the jump was going to happen. I think some of the challenges with 4K are more of on producing the content and making it available so that actually consumers want to take part of it. In the satellite industry, obviously, the focus also has to be in making sure that transmissions can be done cost efficiently by reducing bandwidth and improving on the encoding on those signals, etc., etc. But since it's not our primary focus at the moment, we don't think it's going to affect us in the short term too much at the moment. But we'll keep an eye on it.
But you say it's not your primary focus at the moment.
But who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? And video is not something that is only about broadcasting to people's homes these days. So we currently, for example, broadcast video for some of our customers to their end customers, some of the cruise vessels, for example. So it's something that we keep an eye on it, and we need to be ahead and understand how it works and where we can be there to support our customers.
David, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Richard.